Hello again, guys. It is I, Freeze700. We are back with some Warhammer 40K lore. Man, it's been a while since we've done one of these. So what the fuck is a Tutelary? Or also known as Tutelaries. Now, Tutelaries, I actually like them a lot because they're only in The Burning of Prospero and The Thousand Suns. They're not really in any other novels, and I wish we saw more of them. Now, Tutelary, for those of you who do not know, since there's so few, I had to kind of use images from other artworks, like a dragon from Magic the Gathering or a deer from Harry Potter. That's pretty much the only two pictures I can really find that would kind of suit my descriptions of a Tutelary. But, as you can imagine, a Tutelary is a familiar, a wisp. Kind of more or less a non-existent, but purely physical being that could exist at the same time. I know, it's really crazy, right? So Tutelary is more or less just a fairy. They're more or less a wisp. They don't really have a form, but at the same time they do. It depends on who they're with. That's right. These things do not exist unless they have a master. They usually do not exist at all. So, how does one get one of these things to exist, period? So, the way you get these to exist is simple. A sorcerer would have to plunge his soul into the warp, and he would find a warp entity that he can lash out all of his psychic might onto and try to bind it to him. If it works, hey, he's got a Tutelary. If not, the Tutelary is going to leave him alone. The reason why I wouldn't lash out and kill him is because, well, there's some speculation that Tzeentch may have been just, holding back from showing the Thousand Suns how nasty the warp really is. Which, of course, that would work extremely well, considering that they were very arrogant and sure of themselves that the warp was safe, when every other legion was saying, fuck no, it is not safe. No way, no how. So anyways, when a Tutelary is binded to a person, or more or less finds an individual that can actually hold him with his psychic prowess, what happens then? Well, the Tutelary, interestingly enough, actually mirrors its master. This is where I mean, it can have a form, it cannot have a form. It depends on the master. So, in other words, if it was binded to someone like Ferrus Manus, who really doesn't care much about looks or cosmetics, it would probably just look like a floating orb of energy. That would be it. But if it was bound to, say, someone like Fulgrim, then, well, it'd be like a peacock. It'd have all these beautiful colors, this amazing display of stuff. It'd have its chest puffed out going, look at me, I'm so glamorous and beautiful. This is what a Tutelary would do. It would kind of mirror its master. Now, what role would it really have in a society of sorcerers? This is where it gets interesting. So most sorcerers use them just as tools, kind of like assistants to their work. So they would have the Tutelary clean their bolter or assist them in casting a spell. Like maybe the sorcerer is just a very weak sorcerer to begin with. He can bind a warp entity, but he can't cast a psychic lash spell. So what he'll do is he'll start casting it, but he'll have the Tutelary give him warp juice. Essentially, the Tutelary will reach into the warp for you and provide you energy to boost your spells. This is really awesome. So now this can increase the sorcerer's powers almost over 100 times more than what any artifact could ever give him. This is a really important thing for the sorcerers of the Thousand Suns. Now they have these free assistants who can just boost their power for free. All they have to do is just bind it to their will, and they can banish it whenever they want, right? Right? Wrong. This is what Eric Aziman kind of talked about. Ariman would talk about how the greatest flaw that the Thousand Suns ever did was that they were so arrogant that the Tutelaries were bounded to them that they never actually went farther and just strictly tied it down and made it obedient. So the Tutelaries kind of had a run of the show. But at the same time, the Tutelaries were pretty innocent looking. Like if you were a famous warrior and you were just this amazing duelist, martial artist, your Tutelary would look like a lion. Suits you just fine, It's a warrior, it's proud, it's got honor. If you were a person who is into more reading books, maybe your Tutelary would come out as like a little rabbit. It's okay. So the sorcerers never really had any inclination to believe that these Tutelaries could actually be fatal. So that raises the question. If they can boost your psychic power, Could they per se turn against their masters and kill them? They could. And this is something that the sorcerers don't find out till Prospero is being burned. This leads to two theories. Are Tutelaries real or are they not? Are they actual pieces of lore or are they just demons in disguise? This is something I'm going to dive into right now. So we already know what a tutelary is, we know what it could look like, and we kind of know how they can come around. Now the real question remains, is it a real thing or is it a demon? After all, the whole idea behind Tzeentch is that he could play a scheme on you and you would never know it. The Thousand Suns was his greatest scheme yet, where he made a whole legion so sure that the warp was safe, boom, he fucked them in the ass and took them away and basically made them his bitches. So now it raises the question, was Tutelaries a part of his will? Well, I, on one hand, cannot give that answer for you. I can only lay out the facts, lay out the two theories behind it, and then you guys can just make up your own insertions. Personally, for me, I am more in the line, well, not really in the line of thought, but more I'm just hoping that Tutelaries are actually their own thing. The reason being is that I like lesser known lore. I like small stuff like this. And this is a cool piece of society and history that the Thousand Suns had. I would love to see it where maybe there's another sorcerer planet where Tutelaries do exist, except this time they don't go out of control. They don't get out of hand where they turn into monstrous creatures. So let's kind of lay down some context. During the burning of Prospero, the Thousand Suns were caught off guard. And also, emotionally, they felt betrayed. They felt anguish. They felt pain. They felt anger. They felt hatred for the Space Wolves. They've already hated the Space Wolves before because they're braggarts and they're really just dumbasses when compared to the Thousand Suns. They're very philosophical. They just kind of want to be left alone. They want to research relics. They just want to be in their books. They don't really want to bother anybody. And now their world's being invaded and their people are being slaughtered without provocation. So all this emotion and stuff would cause their Tutelaries to reflect the owner. This means that the Tutelary is no longer this lion or this cute little bunny rabbit. No, they're going to morph into these giant, pissed off individuals. This is why some of the Tutelaries full on ate their own masters. Yeah, that's right. One of them actually ate his master. This, of course, can happen. You lost control. And when you're a sorcerer, control is the most important thing. It doesn't matter how much power you have. What matters is how much control you have. Sure, you can't cast an amazing spell, but on the flip side, at least you can control yourself and not lose yourself and become a host to a demon or just blow up in magical power. This is where the idea that Tutelaries are a real thing theorizes from. Is that during the burning of Prospero, it was just such a emotional event for the Thousand Suns that they lost control. Like there was one sorcerer who kept trying to cast a spell, but he needed more power. So he kept asking his Tutelary, give me power. So the Tutelary just started giving him power. The issue is that his mind was so focused on killing the Space Wolves that he didn't think about what he's doing. So the Tutelary gave him too much power. So much power that it ended up killing himself. Is the Tutelary a demon in that case? No, it's just obeying its master and it's reflecting his personality. It is just giving and giving and giving what he wants, his deepest desire, which is power. Now, on the other theory, are they truly demons? This can actually be true. This can be the case. Because after all, we have to understand that one, Tzeentch is very good at hiding. Like when Tzeentch helped Magnus breach the wards into Terra, Magnus just thought that the warp entity was just being a helpful being. He didn't actually think that there was an agenda behind it. Much like the Sorcerers of Prospero. They thought that the Tutelaries were just neutral beings that they could bind to their will and use for good. They didn't think that these beings may actually have their own personalities. They may have their own agendas. After all, the biggest thing that you'll hear a psyker say, or a librarian even, is that an open mind is like a gate unbarred. The reason why they say that is because the sorcerers had open minds. So it's not hard for a demon to just get a lasso around his neck and go, who the fuck's this asshole on me? Oh, this guy's arrogant, this guy likes to read books. I'll just play along for now. Let me look like something that he would want to see. and then just follow along and play along with it. And then when something tragic happens, like the burning of Prospero, the demon can go, now it's time to feast on these human emotions, and develop in turn. After all, some tutelaries still continue to exist even after their masters were dead. So that does leave credence to the idea that these tutelaries are real demons. And there was even one Thousand Son who later, during the Horus Heresy, encountered his tutelary after several years, and he's like, oh, you're a real demon, aren't you? And the tutelary full on tells him, yeah, I was a demon. And you were so arrogant you didn't believe me. But of course, that was just one example. There are many other tutelaries who did just disappear once their owners were dead. So this again leaves these two theories. Are tutelaries real, or are they just demons? But if they're just demons, why do they disappear after their owners die? If tutelaries are real, then how come some sorcerers didn't know the difference between their tutelary and a demon tutelary? These are questions that we can ask, but again, I just like it because this is a nice piece of lore that shows the society and the mindset of the Thousand Sons. Again, some tutelaries were used as tools, strictly tools. Like, one individual uses tutelary just to give telepathic messages back and forth between the companies, because again, it boosts their power. So it's easier to send messages through psychic communication. I was going to say telecommunication, made no sense. But besides that, the tutelaries were also companions to some of them. Some individuals just needed it for the companionship. Again, why would a demon desire to help someone as pathetic as that who needs a companion? This just doesn't scream demons to me. Also, the tutelaries have been around for, over 100 years. So, for a demon, that's kind of taxing to be with this mortal for so long and not get any emotional blood or anything like that. So it's a very interesting idea. I really love it. I would love to see more of it. The idea behind a sorcerer having a familiar who does his bidding and helps him out is just a beautiful idea indeed. But here's some interesting ideas though. If it was a demon, it would make sense, because of the fact that the Fenris wolves, the wolves of Fenris, actually react really nastily with the tutelaries. Sometimes they growl at them. And of course, the space wolves, like Wordmaker, he was kind of repelled by them. He's like, whoa, these are warp entities. And yeah, that's true. That's what a real tutelary would be, as a warp entity. But at the same time, are all warp entities evil necessarily? That's a question that we should leave this on, right? But I just think it's fascinating, the idea that the Fenrisian wolves would growl at them. Because again, dogs tend to sense supernatural shit. They tend to know when shit's up. But the idea that the Fenrisian wolves would growl at it, and the idea that, again, other librarians would be repelled by it, but here's a Thousand Sons who could actually use these for non-war purposes. They could use them as companions. They could use them as bookkeepers. They could use them as assistants. They could use them as tools. I love the idea of tutelaries. Besides that, this has been Freezer 700. I will be signing off. I hope you guys enjoy, and leave a comment down below what you guys think. I kind of covered the tutelaries in the Magnus Youth lore video. One individual already noted that, but I hope that you guys see a more in-depth video like this and go, wow, I should rewatch the Magnus lore video. Besides that, see you guys next time.